Hello and welcome. Oh my goodness, Jennifer Wallace is in the house. How fortunate I am, we all are, to have a little bit of time with Jennifer. Her story, and we'll see which part she tells today, because hopefully we will have many conversations together. She is all about helping people rewire, if you will, that take trauma, take adverse childhood experiences, and she helps all of us. She has experienced this. She is, very renowned for her work and what she does. So, as we dive into how in the world do we commit to the next year, how do we begin preparing so that we have success? Statistics show that only 5%, 5% of those that make resolutions, set their goals, and really dive in with enthusiasm going into a new year fulfill those promises to themselves and to others. And it's disappointing, and it does not support our God-given gifts and growing them. And so thank you. I mean, audience, hang on. And thank you, Jennifer, so much for being here. I'd love for you to say hello to the audience and share with them, which I want to make sure that you are introduced properly. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
First of all, thank you so much for having me, Carol. I'm just really over the moon to be here with you and to be here with your audience and listeners. So, thank you for joining us so much today. Um, I co-host a podcast called Trauma Rewired. It is the podcast where we teach people about their nervous systems, how trauma lives in the body, and how we can resolve it. And I'm an expert in nervous system health and behavior through real, sustainable, lasting change through our nervous systems. I work also to help people in psychedelic spaces prepare their nervous systems for that kind of peak somatic experience. And then also in the background, supporting people in rest and in integration. And I was kind of thinking about this a little bit. I really feel like my area of expertise is in self authority and teaching women how to come into their bodies, how to stay present for our big lives that we create, right? As we're talking about going into the new year and goals and beliefs and capacity to create the change that we want. Like, how do we continue to show up every day and that consistency, right? All of that lives in your nervous system. And so I'm really excited to share all of this with y'all today and see where this conversation goes. Um, I'll just say a little bit about my story just because Carol brought it up. I'm a breast cancer survivor. I have an ACE score of 4, and I'm a sex trafficking survivor as well. So I do come with some big stories.
Survivor. I mean, on many levels. Well, oh, I'm covered in chills already. The thing about this is, Jennifer, is we think about as your expertise lends itself to helping people. Actually, I love that. Be present in order to grow these big lives and these, which by the way, I don't think everyone understands how important their stories are and that they are part of a big life that they are creating,
Mhm.
regardless of how they're judging it. Our lives, they're big, they matter, the stories matter. And I'm so glad that you are here because whether someone has survived as much as you have, which by the way, thank you for your example. And thank you, Father, for your precious child, Jennifer, being a survivor. Um, whether someone has had those same experiences and or not, that something that they feel they have survived, which I actually think it's another thing people take for granted. people are surviving day in and day out, whether they are claiming that and giving those titles, that we all recognize as, oh my goodness, they have survived. Jennifer has, is a breast cancer survivor, sex trafficking. I mean, what do you, how do you prepare as a survivor for moving into a new year? How do you prepare? How do you know that you are going to stick with what you want next year to look like? I'm going to guess you're part of the 5% that sticks with it.
Goals are a roller coaster. Right. And I really want to circle back right quick to something that you said about big lives. Our big lives isn't just there can be a comparative factor. Also, when we hear people's stories, people might hear and be like, wow, she's really been through this, but I don't have that, and it's like our big lives are being present for the families that we have, right? Like that's big to me. It's not just big to be showing up in leadership or on a podcast or to be here with you. Like the bigness and the richness is really in the moments where we can come together with the people that we love and be in our bodies to really feel that
Mm,
felt sense of safety and love and safe attachment. Like that's big
it's
to
big
me.
to me.
So I just want people to know that, because when we talk about trauma on Trauma Rewired, and really, I think this is where the community is going with like complex trauma, particularly, trauma is not the event of what happens to us. There is an event, but trauma is the response to the event, and that's what gets stored in our bodies. And that is a pretty abstract idea, I think, for most people, but it's the way that we pattern and present in our lives that drive us into particular patterns of behavior, into emotional experiences, into relationship patterns, because our body and our subconscious mind react and pattern in a learned way, right? So, and we tend to live in a lot of, or try to heal a lot of our protective outputs that come on from a stressed out nervous system. And this is all going to circle back to the 5% of success rate. So if I have this nervous system, like this glass right here, and the water line is my stress level, you can see that I don't have very much room in my bucket, right? If I had more of a capacity down here and like, oh yeah, that phone call, those bills, that conversation with my partner, this, that, and the other thing, the water line starts to fill up, right? And as this starts to fill up, and particularly as the water spills over, I'm going to experience some protective outputs from my nervous system, anxiety, chronic pain, shutdown, fatigue, migraines, binge eating would be a protective output, right? Trying to keep me regulated and safe. It's the behaviors that we engage in that help us regulate this stress bucket, right? So what I do every day, and I resource myself differently depending on what I'm moving into, I engage in intentional nervous system practice so that I am lowering the threat in this bucket. I am trying to create a new baseline so that when I come in here and I'm like, okay, what's my goal now for 2025? Where's my vision? Do I have the capacity in my nervous system to hold that vision? And then what do I do every day to support that? What's the consistency like? And the more we do something, we get better at it. If you are going to run a marathon or learn to play the piano, whatever it is, we train at that, right? We go back and like, okay, now I'm going to go back. I'm going to run this. I'm going to learn this note and this key. And so with a daily nervous system practice, I am creating the capacity for what I want to change. What do I want? What do I want? And then what do I have to believe for that, right? Like how do I move in and with that goal, right? And instead of hitting the that driving, right? So much with goals can be about that driving force. Oh, I don't have the willpower, blah blah. Well, your willpower lives in your nervous system, and we all willpower is just don't even. It's not real.
It's not real.
Not real.
Okay, I love this because, first of all, thank you for the visual. I know that everyone here will appreciates that because if we don't have the capacity to take on what we're going to set up as our hopes and dreams and goals, actually turn those into goals. If we don't have the capacity to take anything else on through our nervous system, well, no wonder 95% of the people don't complete and don't stick with it
And
because
don't believe in themselves.
no,
It's
no,
shattering, right? And then there's a shame response
shattering.
on the back end. And it's like, I can't do this. I'm a failure. This always happens, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, it's
Oh,
that shame cycle, that downward spiral, that emotional, like that's hard on the body.
ah,
That's hard. So it's
ah,
like you can create the capacity yourself.
that is fabulous news to everybody. Is that
Yes.
we can actually create the capacity. I, for one, we do exercises to lower the stress levels and to become grounded and to get into the present moment. I learned about the importance of that by at great cost, personally and with my family and everyone else. I was not present. And I did have to allow myself the grace to get out of the shame spiral when I realized everything you're saying is so important for everyone to understand. And how incredible that we have this opportunity that you can help us and give us tools to lower that, to increase the capacity to take on and to be excited about fulfilling and achieving goals and hopes and dreams. And also, more important than that, is to allow ourselves the grace to understand why we had not, if not so far.
And that in itself is like a really hard concept for a lot of people, is to show themselves compassion, to slow down, to enjoy this, to be present in this, to make it okay to like stop. I think we could all relate to, maybe, or most of us relate to the idea of like having a dinner party, or people are coming over, right? People are coming over, and
Yeah.
now what? Oh, everything has to be perfect. We might be rearranging the furniture. I'm cooking some
Oh,
food. I'm just doom everything. I got to do it all because I can't trust this person to move the furniture. Oh
absolutely
no, I'm
not.
directing over here, put my director's hat on, and like,
Oh,
it's the driving perfectionism, right? That everything has to be perfectly clean and the food has to be like this, and let's get out the nice dishes and blah, 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 blah. There could be no,
ah,
it's huge spectrum, right?
and that's coming up. This is
It's
all,
coming out, we're in it.
this, we're in it. I
They're
just
bringing it
watched,
straight to us, like,
yeah.
and it's that's another thing too, right? Like we're in autumn. If you're in the northern hemisphere, we're in autumn now, right? Like we are in a literal season where we are supposed to start slowing things down, tying things up, right? Because here in a few months, it's going to be about hibernating. And
Yes.
yet the structural forces are ramping things up. Go, 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 go. Don't sit, don't slow down, don't rest. And then we even start to be sparkly like the things we're decorating. It's
Right.
there's another force kind of against the physiological human body. Like if we move in seasons too. And the season is, our bodies are biologically wired to start slowing down right now. And everything out there is not telling us to
Oh, no,
slow down.
nothing is saying slow down.
Mm-mm.
Uh,
No.
well,
So,
and then in December, it's even more so.
yeah. And then people are going in with that energy into like how the energetic costs of all of that, right? We're tired. Gosh, by the time the New Year's is hitting, we're like wiped out. But shoot, I'm supposed to hit my goals. I got goals. I got dreams. I got to do this, and that. And we've just come out of something that's so exhausting. And yet we're supposed to have this other drive. within us now for our own change and fire. And it's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Okay. So here we go. It's coming up. And another statistic is 52% make it to March. But then everybody else between March and the end of the year, we're down to 5%.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
what are some suggestions? How I'm so excited we're doing this in enough time to help people prepare and allow themselves get some space, be
Mhm.
ready for the space in order to stick with it to achieve whether that is, you know, try not to binge eating. Let's just say not cursing. I have to say
Great
that
examples.
I slip up on that. You know,
Mhm.
I want to, let's say it's lose 10 pounds. Let's say it is, I want to drink certain amount of water. Let's say by the end of the year, someone says, I want to be making a $500,000 a year. You can work all that backwards, but all of those things, here's, if you don't have the capacity to even do one without blowing up mentally, what do we do? Tell us what to do.
Okay, couple of things. One, there's going to be links to the offerings. So there's the tools that I engage in, you're all going to have access to either through a free course or membership. So we'll get there. But the important thing is to understand our resourcing, right? Understand like things are starting to get a little activated in me. Maybe I'm starting to engage in something like binging, or I'm relying on that glass of wine at the end of the day, or maybe I'm even like pre-gaming before I go into a social situation because my body is predicting the stress, right? My body knows I'm going into something stressful and I already need regulation so that I can continue forward. So first thing I want to talk about is something emotional that everybody can do to kind of just unload a little bit of stress. It's really easy and I can just talk you through it. When you start to hit that I'm in it, oh no, or like I'm feeling bad about what I just did, or maybe there's some like regret or remorse, or oh no, I didn't do it right. I just messed the whole thing up. Like just stop and take a beat and start to stomp your feet. Like just start to put your heels into the ground and even just like shake your arms a little bit. Like, oh, that's not mine. I don't want that. I don't want that. Like maybe it's I don't want that cookie. I don't want that drink. And just move
Wow.
your body around, shake and stomp. That stomping is going to create vibration up the body, and that vibration, our stress response comes from two different places. We have a top down from our brain, HP axis and threat, that makes cortisol, bathing, and all the hormones, right? But there's also another response that comes from in our bones, from calcitonin triggers cortisol and hormonal. So we want to vibrate on the bones so that we can just tell the body it's okay. It's okay, right? We don't need a 4 alarm fire because we ate an extra cookie, or we're like, sometimes it's okay. Food is a great regulator, so is alcohol. I'm not saying
Right.
there's boundaries on things, right? And we know energetically when we are moving into another level,
Right.
right? And so maybe just take a moment, excuse yourself to the bathroom and just shake it out. Just bounce around, shake it out, and just be like, ooh,
That
it's
is an
easy.
easy, easy.
It's so easy.
Everyone can do it anytime it's needed. Okay.
And we didn't
Oh,
even get into the neuro, but the neuro that I do is so easy too, because our brains don't know that like we're driving in cars.
right.
It's the visual system is taking in information, the vestibular system is taking in information, the proprioception, all of your sensory inputs are feeding the brain. And so in neuro and applied neuro, which is where the main modality I work with, we are just doing sensory input training. So I might spend 2 minutes on some visual tools. I might spend a minute doing some breath stuff. I might balance, so I'm training sensory inputs. And so We're gonna all do a tool right now because why not? We're here.
Why not? Okay.
Okay. So the first concept is, and that I really want everybody to get is like we test when we give the brain stimulus that it likes through the sensory experience, it is going to give us more range of motion. It is going to give us more power, more strength, more flexibility, more capacity here to set boundaries, to say no, to use our voice, to step in our full self-expression. Like everything you want lives in your nervous system already and is waiting for you. So what we're going to do is we're just going to sit. We've got our feet on the floor and we're going to
But
simply,
I'm
yep.
sitting on my feet. I'm going to put them on the floor.
You know what? I think you just brought up something really important to talk to people about too. I'm a person who likes to sit cross-legged as well, and I sit on the floor a lot.
Yes.
And if you find yourself
Yeah.
racing in your head, and it's
Yes.
like lots going on, first thing, just put your feet on the ground.
Okay. They're there.
Just put your feet on the ground, right? And engage in grounding,
Yes.
feeling the space.
Okay.
Let's just give ourselves a moment to orient to that, to feeling your feet on the
Okay.
floor.
Come on, audience. Let's do this. This is
Yes.
accountability. Let's learn it. We are being trained by the best. Okay.
So we've got our feet on the floor. And we might just want to take a minute to orient, feel the space of your feet, the space that your feet occupy in space. Maybe you can feel the air in the room if you don't have socks on, or feel the temperature. Maybe even feel some energy around the feet.
Mm-hmm.
If your eyes are shut and that feels okay, maybe you can just orient yourself to the room that you're in. Feel the light, hear the sounds. Maybe in your mind's eye, you might even be able to see yourself sitting in the room in a vision in your mind. And I
Mm-hmm.
also want to say too, for anybody out there who could be feeling sweaty or a racing heart, it is okay to sit in these spaces with your eyes open. If you have a racing heart, I want you to open your eyes and orient yourself. And then we'll just flutter the eyes open. And then keeping the chin neutral, we're just going to rotate from left to right. And I don't want you to push it. I just want you to use your eyes like, oh, that's what I see on that side. That's what I see on that side. You may notice like if you have a little bit of neck tension or something like that. But this is going to be our range of motion assessment. So what I'm looking for is we're going to do a tool and then we're going to reassess that range of motion. And if it increases, great. That's what we're looking for. And we'll go from there after that. So you're going to shut your lips, relax your jaw so that there's going to be a couple millimeters where your jaw is relaxed. Tongue is going to slide across the teeth, making a circle, reaching for the gums and circling around. So you're just going to make 3 circles in each direction. You're just moving the tongue right along the teeth. I want you to feel the teeth, eyes open or eyes closed, reaching back for the gums, circling down around the bottom. And then we come back up for the last circle. And then we're going to reverse. I want you to make sure that you're breathing. Last one. And then pause. Relax your tongue. We're going to take a breath in and take a breath out. We're just letting the integration happen from the stimulus that we've just given our system. And now we're going to reassess that. Now, this particular drill, tongue circles, if you're feeling a state of high activation and you want to settle down, tongue circles is great. If you got a positive and you reassess with more range of motion, that is good. You could do this tool before you sit to meditate. Maybe things are just amping up in the family room. You go to the bathroom, you're just there and you sit and you just take a moment, like do some tongue circles because your tongue is connected to your parasympathetic system. So it is rest and digest. Can be really helpful.
Wow. Okay, first of all, I enjoyed that so much.
Good.
Thank you. How about y'all? I mean, that and it's so funny, I get so excited. I believe that the range of motion increased. I believe and, it brings something up, and I'm guilty of this. So often, we just need movement. You're
Mm,
telling us, "Get up and down," "Shake it off." You don't want it? Shake it off. We say that, but you're saying literally, "Shake it off." And then you're saying, "Ground, settle."
we want to be moving from our centers,
Eh,
right? The most aligned place within us.
yes.
And so we want to be connected to ourselves so that we can hear the way our bodies are speaking to us. So much about this season that we're getting ramped into is big fawn behaviors, right? People pleasing, overdoing, big flight responses, overdoing, overbeing, over preparing, overworking, overspending, right? So, how do we just like take a beat? And it might be like stop, put your feet on the ground, take a breath, do some tongue circles.
So cool. I was working with our production team yesterday, and one of these precious young, professionals, she said, "Oh my goodness," she happens to be in Canada. And she said, "I just want to go outside." She said, "I'm in the city, but if I go to the park, am I going to be that person that just takes my shoes off and puts my feet on the ground?" And I said, "Yes." She's
Yes.
going to love this so much. I can't wait for her to hear it. And the other thing is, so off I do think lots of us, yoga, walking, these beautiful practices, bike riding, whatever it may be that involve movement and breath work and getting present. I think many of us practice those, but how often do all of us that do that take 3 minutes to do what we just did?
Really, it will make such a difference in your life by training your nervous system and working to regulate and be in your body to hear the signals of like, oh, my body is saying no, and yet I'm propelling into this action,
Oh,
right? And going against ourselves. And like when we look at it too as like our brain lives on a spectrum from survival to performance. And over here in performance, we have focus, clarity, energy, boundaries, um, good integration space, good resting, right? Like rest is just an output of a nervous system, right? And so we want to be here back to the lives that we're creating so that we can be present. And it's like the tools just work to slide us on this spectrum, right? My performance in this moment was to show up here with you guys. So I do my tools before I get on because I want to use my voice. I want to do some vocaling and some toning and just like I want to do some grounding so that I don't show up here as like in a protective response or in a fight or flight response or like any sort of activation. I want to be present with you. This is the performance. But sometimes the performance is like laundry.
oh, of course it is. And yes, I mean to tell you this, such an incredible reminder. And another beautiful listener, one of my amazing sister-in-laws, she actually I'm one of 11 and number one's bride. What she has done and what so many people do, but it's angelic, her labors of love that she has shown with us. And I will never forget, we were at their place one day and you could see it. This space that she needed to create. And I said, "Terry, we've got to sit down." Oh, I hope that's okay. Anyway, and so we sat down and we grounded and we talked about how all of us, if we would just implement that practice of 2 to 3 minutes a day. This is so I may go back and try to modify one of the emails that I was preparing, and it is about stop. take a breath, be present. And you have just given me such validation that that was good instruction. Thank you. You know,
It is beautiful.
amazing. So, Jennifer, this practice that you just shared with us, and again, thank you. If we would tack that on throughout our day, just this one simple practice, we would be creating the space to take on these beautiful hopes and dreams and
Mhm,
actually allow them to become goals, daily goals, weekly goals, whatever they are, because we would have the space
mhm, mhm.
mentally. Oh my goodness. Jennifer, this is huge.
And when you have the space, you're like, you can catch yourself a little easier, right? It's like, oh shoot, I'm
Ah,
standing in front of the pantry. What am I about to do? Let me sit. Let me put my feet on the ground. Let me do some tongue circles, do some eye circles. Boom, boom, 5 minutes. And maybe I'm not going to engage in that at all. Maybe the dose of what I'm about to engage in is going to drastically dial down. Maybe I'm going to still eat it and not have a shame response.
oh, just it's going to be better.
It is. It
We're
is. Because
going
you're
for
not stuck.
right. We're going for progress, not
That's right.
perfection. How many times, like you said, it's not about the food, it's not about the alcohol. It is about the boundaries and allowing that to be beautiful and and okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm so excited because I will set little alarms. I don't know about you, audience, but what can we tack this, even just this simple practice that,
Oh, I love it.
I mean, what Jennifer has just shared with us is for anyone and everyone. If we really want to grow in accountability and, Randy, one of my mentors, he loves to say, daily disciplines done daily create predictable outcomes.
And your brain loves predictability. That's what creates
That
the safety and capacity, right? We need to give it a
yes,
better prediction.
I love this. Well, I can predict, we can all predict that we will be better. Y'all, it's not about being perfect. We all want to be. I just watched last night. You all should, if you want to look at perfectionism, Martha Stewart's. Oh
Oh
my,
my
I'm
God.
covered in chills.
The
Everybody should watch
perfectionism
it.
drive is like,
Yes, it's real.
wow. And you could see how she didn't have a good presence either. She's dissociated. She's dissociated. She couldn't, some of her relational
Oh, the
issues that
childhood
came from
trauma.
that, the childhood trauma. Her dad,
Surviving
yeah.
that and then
Yes.
seeing these crazy perf
Ooh.
I mean, y'all, it's worth it. I mean, I am covered in chills. I cannot thank you enough. I cannot wait for our next conversation. I know the audience is just so excited. Of course, your gift, your generosity, your contacts will all be posted for everyone to have. But do you want to talk a little bit about it'll be practices such as this and we can follow you and learn much more?
Yeah, if you when you there's two options. There's a free course. It's going to give you a bunch of tools and you can create a daily practice. Even just in the ways that we just talked about, using it situationally. Or there's a 2 free weeks on our membership, and there's an incredible on-demand library there that anyone literally, if you can hit play, you can regulate your nervous system and you can bring in all of these beautiful changes that you want and really the life that you desire. And so on that library, you're going to be able to find things that you might really relate to, functional freeze, or maybe you want to try some vision training. All the sensory inputs are there and it's really easy. And if I can support you in any way, you're going to have my contact details. So I'm totally here for you. And I just want you to know that wherever you are today in this moment, you are not stuck. Your brain has the ability to rewire just like anybody else's brain does too. So we can do it. You can do it.
Oh my goodness. Y'all, we really can. And also her podcast, I mean, she's a rock star. So follow in every way that you can. It's a total gift to have time with you. I look so forward to our next conversation. Thank you, audience. And Jennifer, as always, oh my goodness, you're appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.